All right, today for our Atelier talk, we have Loren Strickman. How you doing, Jesse?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. It's hot over here in the Bay Area, but got my coconut water and my windows open. So yeah, how are you?
Enjoying it? Yeah, pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, it's getting warm over here in LA as well. I don't mind the heat though. I'm one of those strange people that can just like sit in a very hot place, and I don't know, for whatever reason I it almost helps me like focus. It's weird. Like I write a
Oh,
lot of music when I'm just like overly warm. I guess it's
interesting.
worse than being cold for me. When I'm cold, yeah, things don't work as well.
Oh,
What about
interesting.
you? Do you kind of do better in the cold or the heat?
I think I despise both. Kind of. I hate being cold. I guess I hate being cold more than I hate being hot, for
Mm,
sure. I get cold really easy. But when it's really hot, you can stay up late, and that's when I make music.
dude.
So
Yeah,
it's easy. It
yeah.
helps with that. Yeah.
But then a lot of people say, like, if you're cold, you can always put layers on, and if you're hot, like, there's nothing you can do. But I feel like I get this internal like core chill when I get cold. Like very quickly I get cold
Yeah.
inside. So it doesn't really
I'm the
matter.
same.
Like I have to like sit next to a fire to really like actually warm up.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And my hands get freezing. Got these tiny wrists, and my feet get freezing.
Yeah.
I'd rather be hot, because then I know that, well, I'm warm on the inside. I'll be
Yes.
fine.
Yeah. And I don't sweat a lot. I can imagine if I sweat, that would be a reason enough to hate the heat, right? You're just like drenched all of a sudden, like trying
Yeah.
to like hang out with your friends and you're just like soaking wet. So I think that might be part of it.
That
I
makes
do
sense.
I do sweat when I eat spicy food though, and so I've always had trouble with spicy food.
Do you ever eat spicy food when it's really hot by a fire
No,
with
dude.
a sweater on?
No. Do you do that?
No, I
Okay. I was gonna say
don't.
my head sweats. Ugh. Yeah.
Oh,
I get dry. It dries me out. Spicy food.
yeah.
Yeah.
My my room is the hottest room in this house, but
Hmm.
in the winter it's the coldest room in this house. You can see I'm kind of in an attic thing here. Um,
Yeah. It's just not
so
in.
that's a thing.
Like,
It's always the worst, but it's cool.
you're like on another planet, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, Elon Musk was talking about interplanetary travel. I mean, it's been a couple years. I mean, he's been probably interested in it since he was a child. That guy is wild, man. But he really wants us to like live on Mars. Like, he really feels like that would be a good thing for humans. You got any thoughts on that?
I haven't looked into this much, but I've fantasized about it since I was a kid. I think
Mm,
we've all have.
mm.
I don't know. Is that a thing you could say? I think everyone has been thinking about this since they were a kid. No, but I feel like it's something that you're like, what if you lived on Mars as a kid? Um, and I don't know. It'd be cool to like look out into space and see the Earth,
Mm.
even if it was a speck or whatever. But I don't think it. I don't know how much rational sense it makes. Like, why would we do
Mm.
that? Wouldn't we basically be like taking resources and just bringing them there, or have they found a way to like farm on Mars and have water, harvest water?
Yeah, so there's a lot I don't know about that too. But apparently there are a lot of resources in space, man. Like I don't know about Mars, but just right space travel, there is some incentive to get out there because there are resources in like asteroids and a lot of things in space apparently have some pretty interesting stuff.
Cool. Well, I hope someone does it so that I can read about it and see the movie that they inevitably make about it. But I don't know if I would sign up to be one of the first
Hmm.
testers or something. Like I said, I get cold easy and I
Hmm.
get hot easy,
Oh,
and
space.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm a survivor, more of like a dude in the corner who plays guitar.
Yeah, but I would say that you are an explorer, right? I mean, you do
It's
something that
true.
I feel like probably at least 75% of people wouldn't really choose to do, right? Unless
True.
it was some like amazing opportunity. I mean, you tour, right? So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
my favorite thing in the
Wow.
world to do.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's true. Most people spend their whole lives trying to have a more and more secure life and be more and more grounded in one place. And for me, somehow I feel like I'm dying when
Hmm.
I do that too much.
Wow.
I feel stagnant, and the happiest I ever am, and the most fulfilled is when I'm touring and I'm playing music for people and making them smile and meeting new people. It's so exciting. It's like an adventure. You never know what's going to happen, and it's not always good, right? That's the thing. You
Yeah.
don't know what's going to happen. You I remember one time I found myself uh, it was with a four-piece band. We were on tour, and we thought we had a place to stay that night in a city, in a state that we had never been to before.
Hmm.
Um, and we thought that we had a place, but the person who was housing us got really wasted and I think forgot about us
Whoa.
and left.
Yeah. Amazing.
And we couldn't reach her, and we're like, oh my God. And by that time, it was like way too late to find
Of course.
uh, anything. Yeah, and it was like a smaller town, so like yeah, everything was closed, and we just drove up into the mountains, and we found a place on the side of the road. We were told up those mountains there's a campsite, right? Someone told us that there wasn't. We went all the way up and just hit a road that said that was blocked off. So like, oh my God, you guys, we have to make a decision here. It's really late. We have a show in another state tomorrow. We have to leave super early and drive for 9 hours, and so we like just found a we just slept on the side of the road. And I remember waking up to construction across the street up there in the mountains. Like, why is there construction across the street from where we happen to be in the middle of nowhere? It was Ogden, Utah. We were like up on a mountain or in Ogden, Utah, and there's construction across the street. We're like, oh my God. And we woke up, we had had no sleep. And I remember being like, you guys, I need water so bad. The sun was beating down on us,
Hmm.
and no one had water. And everyone was incredibly dehydrated. And we were like, and the person, it was actually the venue owner that had ditched us, and she still had all of our equipment. So after she left, she took us somewhere new. She was like, "Leave all your equipment. It's gonna be good." Well, I want to show you this rock show happening down the street. We go there, and it closes, and she's gone. And we try to get back to our equipment, and the place is locked. So
No.
we woke up on the side of the road with no sleep, like super dehydrated, and all our instruments were gone. And we're like, "You guys, we need to get on the road because we have a show in Nevada, in like Reno." Uh, in 10 hours, and it's a 9 hour drive. And we're like, oh my God, where's my guitar? Where's water? And
Nose good.
somehow it all worked out. So the adventure isn't always good, it's not always fun, but not knowing what's going to happen just makes me feel so alive. And
Hmm.
I remember falling asleep in that on the ride. Somehow we got our instruments, we got water somehow. I remember sleeping, and I remember someone shaking me and being like, "Yo, Jesse, it's time. We got to go in there and play. It's time." And I was like, "Oh, well," like so out of it. And I just remember like everything in my body was like felt horrible, and I remember feeling so fulfilled.
Hmm.
Like, this is my calling. I have to go in there. It doesn't matter what I want to do. I have to go in there, and I have to play music from my soul
Hmm.
for an audience of people.
Hmm.
And it's like it's not even about me. It's just like this. My purpose is flowing through me.
Mm,
Like, I just got jolted awake because there's an audience in there waiting to hear me sing. And I just remember it being like the best feeling ever. It's like beyond, it doesn't matter how terrible. Like, if I have a day job and I have a home and like a stationary life, um, and I wake up and I got no sleep for whatever reason, I'm dehydrated, my day's gonna suck. It's
yeah.
gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about that.
Mm,
But if I'm out there doing my life's purpose, my soul's purpose, and doing music, which is the most healing thing for me, and making people happy,
mm,
um, uh, it doesn't matter what obstacles or how I'm feeling. Uh, Nothing can stop me from just my heart is smiling on the
mm,
inside. So it's like it's bigger and beyond anything.
yeah.
Nothing. Yeah, it's magic. It's the best feeling ever. And I know that I'm totally a freak for feeling that, but I also know that I'm not the only one.
Yeah. You're not the only one. And you're needed, right? I mean, it's cool. I feel like that's something society has chosen, like to value enough to make it last, right? I mean, there's still venues in every
Right.
city that invite people to come play. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you ever
So
played in a Walmart? Isn't like a Walmart parking lot? That's pretty popular for musicians, right?
I never have, but I've heard about that as a resource. Yeah, that's a good that's a good thing to know about. Another one that's maybe less known
Mm.
that someone told me, and it's pretty unbelievable. And I said, that's not true. That would never work. But
Yeah.
it always works. Is if you're a musician and you're playing your show right before the very last song, say when you're saying your thank yous or whatever, just throw in. And by the way, if anyone would like to house a four-piece indie rock band, just come let us know because we don't know where we're crashing or some. Just throw in something like that.
Yeah.
Just put that little
Mm.
hint out there to the audience, and I swear to God, someone will always come up and say, "Hey, it's not much, but I got a floor." Um,
Yeah.
it, it works. It really does. I doubted that that would work, and it always does.
Wow, that's gotta like totally just increase your faith in humanity.
Dude, your heart expands. Yeah, man, it's crazy. It really does. I think that's part of the magic of touring is that you you go out there to give your gift 100% and you don't know what you're going to get back, and you're taking a lot of risks, and uh, and the universe and the people, they provide for you, and you see that, and you it's just it strengthens this sense of community. And um, I always return with like so full hearted. My heart gets fully recharged.
Yeah,
Um,
I feel like a huge risk that we're taking right now, um, like especially with technology, right? Like just having GPS on our phone, having calendars on our phones, like right, people talking about like 5 year plan, 10 year plan, right? Or like retirement packages, life insurance, like all these big ideas, which I think are really beautiful and all come from a place of um, like good intention of like of safety and of wanting people to have to live their best life. um,
right,
People might come in and take advantage of those processes, right? And then it might become about money. um,
right.
but I feel like the risk that we take with in getting super involved with all those things is we're like risking the present moment,
Yeah,
right? Like we're constantly aware of this hypothetical future, and if we stay in the future, right, then what about like right now, right? Like what about
right,
this moment? Like, are you safe now? Like, can you be happy now? um
right. And there
yeah,
will
can
always
you be
be a new
capable
thing
now?
to buy to
Mm,
secure your future even more that you can be thinking about.
yeah.
Kind of,
Mm-hmm.
you need to write a song about that, man. That's a beautiful concept and an interesting
Well,
one.
it's yours. It's all of ours. So maybe I'll write a song about it. But it's the past too, right? I mean, because our phones are just so powerful, and we've just increased our the technology of capturing something so much. I was talking last week to uh, or 2 weeks ago to Taylor about this. It's like you we've just gotten better and better at capturing the past, right? It like first was like a picture or maybe even something before that, but it was like black and white, and then it's like no, we need the video, and now it's like
Right.
motion, and now all of a sudden we're like virtual reality. Like we're trying so hard to capture our memories,
Right. So
but
hard to
yeah,
not be here now.
yeah, and there is value in a memory. Like there is value in respecting someone who's maybe gone or someone who's moved to a different. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Have you read Marie Kondo, the cleaning up lady, tidying your life?
Ooh, no, I
Okay.
like this.
She it's the Japanese art of decluttering your life. It's all like AKA like minimalism,
Yep.
and she helps and walks you through that. And she wrote this book um that changed my life, which basically helps you get rid of your stuff, which sounds like a really easy thing to do, but it's incredibly hard
Mm,
because everything you go to get rid of, you're like, well, I might use this one day, or I can't get rid of this, but my great grandma gave me this and I love it. And so you end up keeping everything right, but she walks you through step by step, like go from the easiest thing to get rid of, which she says is your old shirts,
mm,
and save photographs for the end because it's the hardest to
yeah.
get rid of. But by the time you get to photographs and you've learned how to keep the things that truly are fulfilling to you and not, when you can identify that on the inside, which is really the muscle that you're exercising um, is on the inside,
Mm,
because all our stuff and our outer, it's all a reflection of our inner self.
mm,
Yeah. And memories, honoring memories. So she'll say that like if there's something that reminds you of like this amazing memory, um, but you never look at it, but it's when you go to get rid of it, you're like, oh, well, I should keep it because there's something there. It's
mm,
like, you know what? You'll always have that memory, and that's where the magic is.
mm,
I'm not still attached to this toy I played with every day when I was a kid. I was attached to it back then and I cherish that, but I don't feel that way towards it now. If you
mm,
get rid of it, you're actually honoring it because you're letting the part of you that loves it, which is in the memories, live on and be its presence instead of a constant reminder of how you don't play with this toy now or that it's a burden because it's cluttering up your life, and
wow.
just like honoring the memories for where they are, which is in the past. And
Yeah.
um, nothing can take away the memories. You always have those.
Yeah, I feel like that's why recordings of songs are so valuable to
Yeah.
because it really helps me like let go of like past songs that I've written. If I
Uh,
create a recording of them and like share them properly, then I can like forget, right? I can like forget how to play them even and things like that. So that I don't know. I tend to right when I finish recording songs, I tend to have more space to keep writing. So that's been a
nice.
good
Yeah.
exercise. Yeah,
That's beautiful. You honor it and you completed it, and now you can give it space, and now you have a blank page again in which to create it more.
that's it. Yeah,
Awesome. That's cool. I admire your band in that your recording flow is very much in line with like your creative process where you start writing the song and then you get the inspiration for the song, you write the song, then you add instrumentation to the song, the band adds their elements, and then you guys move right into recording.
mm,
I think that's so cool. That's what your process has sounded like from third person to me, and I always thought that was so cool because for me, I'm not like a big recording guy. I love recording and I love putting out albums. It's just that I'm uh, don't know how. Like I hire the crew or whatever, or a sound engineer and whatnot, which is awesome, and I love working with people. But I wait till I have like an album's worth of songs, and then I go. But inevitably, there's always half the songs on there are a little tired,
yeah,
and then the newer ones are so fresh and so ready. And it's like I like the idea that you guys, you the creation of the song
Mm,
encompasses the recording of the song. So it's really complete,
mm,
start to finish, and then boom, and now we do the next one, and you give it your full attention and
mm,
all your your 100%, when it's time. It's this song's time right now in the present, and then you complete it, and then you go to the next one. So what the audience is hearing, and I think this comes across in your music. I hear it when I put your guys' music on.
mm,
Um, is that you're hearing the fullest version of that song. Like this song sounds like now.
mm,
That singer, Nathan, doesn't sound like he's sung this 100 times. No, it sounds like he means it right now.
mm.
Uh, and every track sounds like that, like full presence. I
Uh,
hope to one day get to that flow somehow. I don't know how that would look, but I
mm,
know it's possible because you guys showed me that it
yeah.
is
Well,
possible.
yeah,
I love
definitely. Um, yeah, I think it's really liberating for us songwriters to have some knowledge of recording, and especially nowadays, it's a lot cheaper than it was, and it's a lot more available online. Like you can pretty much pick it up by yourself. You can learn, and you can go the route of like you can write pay like Mac Pro Video, I think, right, is what I used. Is like a monthly thing, but they just had all these tutorials, right? Like Logic tutorials, like 1,000 probably, and just every day, right? I was
wow.
just watching these videos, so that really helped. But then, like, you start to meet other people, and so we can be a resource, if you have any questions while you're picking it up. Um,
Okay. Yeah, now that the pandemic happened, I am gonna, for once in my life, start home recording, which I'm really excited about because I was 3/4 of the way into an album, and now it's all paused.
mm,
And eventually, my sound engineer just called me up and was like, "Dude, I think we might be like this for a while. We got to think about setting you up a home studio." So he's gonna walk me through. He gave me like a super, I don't know, multi-thousand-dollar mic or whatever he's lending
yeah.
me,
Yes.
um, and then he's like, "I'm gonna walk you through how to make a sound booth." Um,
There
and
you
I just
are.
said like, yeah, I just said like, okay, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. But I was like, if it doesn't sound as good as the studio though, I'm gonna stop and we're gonna wait to open back up. Like, don't like, give
Mm,
it to me straight. If I send you an audio track and it sounds like crap, I'm like, you have to tell me, and we'll keep trying until we get it. And because I don't want to compromise the quality at
mm.
all. And then he's like, yeah, he's like, I won't. I'll let you know. It sounds like crap. Everything you try until it doesn't, till it sounds good. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into that world of recording. I'm excited. I
Yeah.
might hit you up.
Well,
I
you are
asked.
pretty familiar with live sound, right? I mean, you run sound for yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So I think that it's similar. I'd say that it's vastly different from creating music, and from
right.
live, because I can write music and not be thinking at all. That's kind of the goal for me when I write music. Is like I want to be
Right.
completely present to my body, and like whatever consciousness is like deep within me that I don't have to think to get there. It just flows out.
Yeah,
Whereas like
it's magic.
when I'm recording, it's a lot harder for me to just be, right. I really have to, like, I'm always thinking like, does this need compression? Does this need reverb? Right? Like it's just such a much more technical process for me. Like, is the mic placement in the right place? And so, um, some things I've learned. One thing in particular that I've learned over time is to kind of separate those things in my head a bit. It's like I'll come into the studio and just sing into a mic for like a couple hours, and I won't even listen to what I did. Right? Because as soon as I go to the computer and like get on there and start
uh,
listening and start editing, I'm in my head. I'm like, is that
right.
flat? Is that sharp? Like blah 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 blah. Like totally different than just like unloading my soul and being in my
Right.
body. And so I'll usually take a break, right? I'll like eat or I'll go home or something, and then I'll come back and be like, all right, now I'm gonna just listen and think about this.
What about when you set up the mic and everything, get everything placed before you're gonna sing? Then you like take a moment before you go sing after you've set up the technical stuff.
Yeah, I would separate that process. A huge thing for me is to have things set up. That's always been massive. Like that's changed my entire life. Like in my room, my guitar is on a hook on the wall. My keyboard is like the speakers right underneath. It's everything's plugged in and it stays there. So right when I get home, I press one button, I'm there.
Boom.
I just grab the guitar off. Might have to tune, right? Just pull out my phone or whatever, tune, I'm there. And that's the same thing. I'm working on that with the recording process. That's been like part of this room. We're really hoping that other people have that same vision and that we can just step into a room and like things are ready to go so we can just jump straight in and not have to get too in our heads. Because, you know, when we're thinking, I think of Alan Watts, right? He always talks about um, like if you're having trouble, stop thinking, right? Because if you're thinking, you can't be being or you can't be doing. You're just thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like if you're thinking, you're not singing. You're thinking. And that's what's
Right.
causing you to sing worse because you're not just singing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The flow of it.
Mm,
Totally. The best thing you can do is when you're like fully present. The best performance is when you're feeling the song
mm.
and how you're sharing it with people and not thinking, "Oh, like, oh man, do I look cool when I play this guitar solo?" That's always like the moment when you're like you're doing something, you're like, "Oh man, this is really I look really cool right now." That's when you fuck up. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God." It's like don't stop and think that you're cool because you're gonna look like an idiot. It happens every time.
Dude, that's it, man. And people feel it. I feel like people feel it.
Yeah,
Whether they know, like, oh, they just like, oh, it's like, I don't know about this. They start to get that off feeling, like something's wrong. Yeah,
yeah, because you're making it about your ego instead of about singing
yeah.
or expressing through music or what it really is the reason we do it.
Mm,
Yeah. And songwriting too is the same, that meditative state that we sink into.
mm,
That's when the best stuff comes out. And then the moment you start editing your song or thinking, like, then it's all like, oh, I'm in here. And
mm.
then drop back in to my whole self. And yeah,
Yeah. Dude, maybe we can talk
seems
about that a little bit, just like your songwriting process. Like,
sure.
yeah, is it happening in multiple different ways? How does that usually come about?
Um, let's see. For forever, it always started, and I'd say most of my songs are I'm play just messing around on guitar and something strikes
Mm,
me as like, oh, there's something there. I just felt something from that, and then I would start like playing with that and singing a melody over it, and then usually 9 times out of 10 some words just come pop into my head that I wasn't even consciously thinking about, and they usually stay in
mm,
the song.
mm,
And I don't know, it only happens right there at the beginning, the
mm,
first few words, and I'm like, what is this about? And I'm like, oh, and I like figure out what it is that I tapped into,
mm,
um, and start writing the rest of the song. So it usually started um, from just messing around on guitar, but lately I've actually been studying songwriting a lot, like the craft of songwriting over the last few years, and it really is transforming my songwriting for the better.
mm,
I think, um, and I've now it's a little bit more. I challenge myself to go at it in different ways. So it might be something that might be the same where I'm playing guitar and something strikes me, but oftentimes it's like, no, I'm feeling something really strong for this situation, for like my friend, the girl that I was just seeing who is far away and, for example, and just got COVID
mm,
and with all her friends and her best friend passed away and she came really close. And so I've been thinking about her and so I'm like,
mm,
before picking up the guitar, I'm like, whoa, what is it? The strongest thing I'm feeling here? It's like, I think it's, am I going to see you again? Am I like, is there a time for us? I always thought that we were going to get back together when we saw each other. We write to each other all the time and say that. Can't wait to see you again. And it just occurred to me that we don't have control over that.
Wow.
You almost just died. And so something in me just got tapped into of like, oh my God, I need to see you, or like, am I going to see you? And so this is just an example, but I just started a song like that where it came from that idea first, and then I'm like, okay. And then I went melody first. I started singing something, and then I was like, what would that sound like on the guitar?
Yeah.
Like, where would the guitar fit behind that? So,
Mhm.
um, lately I've been challenging myself to go meaning first and melody to guitar instead of
Wow.
guitar to melody.
Wow.
And I think it's, you can do more with melody. Um, or I've been told by some really remarkable songwriters that uh, if you always write songs based on your instrument, for example, guitar, you might find yourself always going back to your favorite chords,
Yep.
and that's great. But you're not allowing for like a bigger diversity in your song or in your sound, or opening up to bigger creativity. And so lately I've been challenging myself to go meaning and melody first, and then letting the guitar support that. But it's new. I'm still getting into that flow. But I like it.
Yeah.
It's definitely different. And of course, I'll always have my old technique
Exactly.
to have too. So there's no wrong way to write a song.
That's so cool. And I love that, yeah, that you're like challenging yourself and not like as good as that first way is. A friend of
Yeah,
mine, songwriter Danielle Durek, she said the reason why she writes songs is because of emotional unintelligence. And I was like,
what does that mean?
whoa, right? And yeah, she had to unpack that for me quite a bit. Um, it's it's basically that she's unaware of those deep emotions, and I think all right,
Yeah.
our fight or flight, right? We go into our fight, we suppress those deep feelings, and I think because you're present to that heavy thing in your life, you're like ready to go, right? Now you're on a mission, like you want to comfort people that are going through that time, and like you have a gift of songwriting, right? So you can make a song about it, and I think
Right.
that's beautiful. I think I know for me when I first started songwriting, it was really I didn't have tools to understand who I was, to get to know myself, and
Yeah.
I really resonated like with what you said first, and then what Danielle said about emotional intelligence is like it taught me something about what I was going through and what my deepest pain was, and I couldn't
Yes.
get there by like thinking like, why am I sad? What am I going through? Like there was a block, and as soon as I picked up an instrument and heard chords, like you said, I started singing things that didn't make sense, and I started
Until
putting
they
them.
did.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, I'm going through some crazy stuff right now.
Yes. Oh man, yeah, I agree with that 100%. That's so well said of your friend. Who is that?
Danielle Dirac, she lives in
Danielle Trick.
Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, we met her on tour. We were playing a festival called Side Pony Express. Coolest thing ever. You would have
That's a
loved
cool
it,
name.
dude. It was in Bisbee, and like, which is like a mining town. So there's like all these houses. They're all like all kinds of colors. They're all on different hills. There's like hundreds, probably thousands of stairs up to the hilltops to these houses, and there are just
Uh-huh.
cats. There are cats everywhere. It's like a giant cat playground because it's just all these stairs and houses. They're everywhere. Um, and so they basically
That's
opened up
awesome.
all of their venues, like, or just shops, right? So you had like pizza places, coffee shops, actual music venues. There was probably like 15 to 20 different venues. And there was
Okay,
just
okay.
for 3 days straight, there were songwriters just shifting, right? And so we probably
All solo singer songwriters?
bands, the whole
Oh,
entire
band.
whole
Okay.
gamut. yeah, but also solo. So we probably played like 5 or 6 times, in the weekend at these different
Whoa,
places. And we were playing at one shop,
awesome.
and we could almost see down this whole street while we were playing from this one space. And I just saw her walking like up the street, and she heard us, and she just kept coming all the way, and then she just like stood, like right in front. It was just like, um, it's so cool, man. That's
It
something I
resonated with your sound. And
that's the crazy thing is right. And whatever we were doing, we're just hanging out, being ourselves and jamming. Um, it compelled her to come over and to meet someone, which is kind of scary. That's what I
yeah,
miss though, man. I miss those random new people that you meet because
on
of
the road.
yeah, and because of music,
Yeah,
right? Not because
because
of
of
like
music.
the way you look or like all these other reasons why people meet people or because you go to the same school, things like that. It's just because like they liked something deep that you're sharing. That's
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. It cuts through the connections you make on the road through playing music for people is deeper than you ever would like it cuts right through it. Like people you probably get this like you play a show and then people are coming up to you and they're talking to you like you're friends
yeah.
already.
Yeah.
Like it breaks the ice when you perform for someone and they hear your soul and your these like deep emotions and stuff and your sound like they're not afraid to come up and talk to you because you just talked to them from your soul for like an hour.
Yeah.
And so, and for me, I'm kind of a shy person. Like, I never walk up to people,
Mm.
very like reserved, but I love when people come up to me and the ice is already broken. If I can do that with my music, then all of a sudden I'm in all these new situations. I'm meeting all these awesome, amazing people that already resonate with something about me. So we're already, it's like, okay, we're friends now. That was so fast.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is it's the best. And yeah, connecting with people. I remember when I first heard your music, uh, I had already talked to you and we had met, uh, and I thought you were cool, for sure. But when I heard your music, I was like, oh, that's that's deeper. Like that's what's behind
Mm.
that awesome beard, and that that's what's like cool behind Nathan's like soft-spoken, cool demeanor is like it just cuts through. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I need to know this dude more. I need to meet his bandmates. Like, um, you hear the music and it just cuts. You go straight to something deeper that it accesses something that normally takes years. I think takes lots of interactions and lots of to build like a trust and a knowledge of someone else, you and you can kind of skip all those steps and go right to the thing that we're all longing for anyway, and that's like connection, a deeper connection.
Yeah.
So
It reminds me
music.
of right, yeah. It's a beautiful thing. That's what Mac Miller said on his Tiny Desk concert. If you get a chance, um,
Okay,
it's it's really beautiful. But in between songs, he's just
cool.
like, music. It's a beautiful thing, and he says it all serious. And then like 10 seconds later, he like looks at his band and he's like, "Music's a beautiful thing," and like obviously like kind of making fun of himself, just like that was a typical thing for me to say, but it's not right. I mean, because the first time he said it, he was almost surprised. It's just like it's so important, I think, to keep reminding ourselves just how how beautiful certain things are in life and how it's so important to pursue those things because obstacles come up and we're in it, dude. There's like serious evil, serious pain, serious like separateness, right? Like hatred.
Yeah,
And I think all that stuff, the purpose is that of that stuff is to just get us passionate. It's to just get us inspired, to motivate us to drive. I mean, you see all the people coming together these days, and sometimes we don't know what exactly we're coming together for. But it's just like we know that we're one. And music, like you're
love that.
saying, I think it cuts through. It's pretty quick. Another songwriter said, "Ah." and I didn't understand it when she first said it, but it just stuck with me. She's like, it's a heart language. Um, music, it just goes directly to your heart. And
It's the truth,
I'm trying to figure out what that means still, but the way she said it, I know it's true.
man. Yeah, it's so true. When you hear music that resonates with you, it's like, for me at least, it's like this song is the most important thing in my life right now. In this moment, like, I need to hear it again.
Mm.
This is, I'm in with this song, you know? Or like when you're going through something. The biggest compliment I ever get is when someone says, I was going through something uh, really hard, and your song um, like got me through it. Your song, this blah 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 track title was uh, it said everything that I was going through. It was like it sung you sung about everything, my situation exactly, and it like helped me. I've been listening to it a bunch, and I'm like, oh my god, that's crazy to hear, because I wrote that song very much about what I was going through, and you saying that reminds me of every time in my life when I was going through something that felt devastating at the time, heartbreak or physical pain or whatever, any sort of hard thing, and then there was a song that made it okay, that made everything okay, because the song knew how I was feeling on that heart level, and it understood. Uh, it made me know that I wasn't alone. It made me feel that I wasn't alone in what I was going through, and that, and also at the same time, that what I'm going through, as ugly as it feels, and as painful, and or hard and gritty, actually is also another part of life that is beautiful too, because this song is beautiful and it's singing about what I'm feeling, and I just realized how beautiful this painful thing can be,
Wow.
and how healing that is. And so when someone says that my music did that for them, I'm like, that like,
Yeah.
thank you for telling me that. Like, that that mean, like, I can die now. That was my life's purpose, for you to
Yeah.
feel that way through my song. Like, I can't believe that I get to come full circle, that my music can be that for someone else, that which music has been for me. It's like an honor. Like, I can't. It's like yeah. It's so beautiful
Yeah.
and powerful. I'm like, me. I
Mm.
can do that too. Like, we all have that power for each other. It's it's like, whoa.
Yeah. And it really seems like you've dedicated the majority of your life to that process and to those connections with those people, and really focusing on how you can do that best. I mean, even in this time, right? You've
Right.
not able to play live. I've seen you still active with your audience, and doing whatever you can, whether it's like through Instagram live or just how it in however way you're like, no, like this isn't going to stop me. This is who I am. This is what I'm doing.
That's actually kind of funny, or kind of happened on accident. I started a weekly stream maybe like a month before COVID happened. I started at the end of January. Uh, and so then when COVID happened, I just upped it to 3 times a week.
Wow.
So, because I was like, oh, no more gigs every week, and I'm like performing all the time now. I'm really lucky, um, that before all this happened, that I was getting to perform 3 or 4 days a week,
Mm,
as sort of my main day job.
mm,
And so when all of a sudden that was gone, I was like, okay, I guess I'm just gonna triple my streaming.
mm,
But it was not planned at all, and a lot of musicians like um, started streaming a ton after all their gigs were canceled and after we're all stuck at home and whatnot, um, and having to learn how to do it. Because unlike you or a lot of people, I'm like, so until now I've been so bad at like um, computers and programs and all this stuff. I'm like, I would stick to guitar. That's what I do. Kind of intimidated by technology.
mm.
Um, but I had to learn a lot for streaming, and it took weeks or if not or more,
Yeah.
maybe like a month and a half or something of like technical difficulties and troubleshooting and calling on friends who are good at this, who are computer savvy. But by the time then COVID hit, I had my stream and the sound was dialed in. I was my programs were no longer crashing anymore.
Uh,
And then all the other streamers were like, "Jesse, you got into this at the right time." And and I'm just like, "Yeah, I did not know that COVID was gonna happen. Just it just happened.
mm,
It just all happened." And I've my label has been telling me to start streaming for at least a year,
mm,
if not more. And it was like I finally did it, and then all this happened, and so I just dove head on into streaming, and it's really fun. It's so great. I think I would have gone insane if I didn't have streaming after I was no longer gigging.
yeah.
Um,
Dude, you got inside information. I don't believe you. You were on the board of.
I decoded the stock market, man, and I predicted
Oh my God.
this, and I said, gotta start streaming right now. No, but for that reason, whenever there's a musician who's like, why does your sound good on Zoom or whatever, I'm like, hey, call me. I'm gonna give you everything I know because I was super like electronically unintelligent until very recently, and it took a bunch of people helping me to figure this out. So I'm like, if any musician ever asks me, I'm like taking pictures of the different rigs I'm going through. Get yourself a mic. Let me help you as much as I can with your streaming because I finally know how to do this, and so many people helped me that I want to pay it forward.
Uh,
So
I feel
streaming is huge now.
it is
What were you
huge.
gonna say?
Um, I've had trouble with the mental aspect of it. I think part of it is technological. Like I feel like once you do get the right equipment and everything's there, I'm sure that would help like calm your mind. Um, but
Uh-huh.
I haven't done much streaming, and I feel like I just know it's such a different thing
It's
than
different,
live performing. And right now, especially, just being taken away, right? Just like having those live performances being taken away, I've been like trying to fill that space. And I think it would almost be impossible for me not to like try and fill that hole with live streaming. And I just
right?
know that wouldn't work. Like maybe
Uh,
there might be some
it's not the
overlap,
same.
but I would have to like you were ready to approach it. You came mentally
Uh,
prepared to do it no matter what, not because of some pandemic. You were still playing live and you were like you saw the value of live streaming. Whereas I
it's
hadn't until this. Now I'm like
right.
I haven't gotten into it. Talk to me about like kind of that mental like what you can do to prepare mentally, things like that.
Um, yeah, yeah. I guess it's different. It's totally different from playing live. There's similarities, and that's also completely different. Um, and so that makes sense that if I think most musicians right now are coming at it as like trying to replace live music, and it can't be. So that's true. But um, um, it's something else, and it's beautiful. It's different, but it's still sharing your music. And I think if you have like an interactive platform where people can comment and request songs and stuff, because I'm not just doing this on like Instagram or something.
Yeah.
I think so many musicians are just doing it on the biggest platforms, and I don't do that because I don't feel like I'm not world famous. So I think when like the Shins do it, or like I've seen Death Cab for Cutie singer when they do it, they have so many comments that they actually can't even really look at them because it's like
It's like, hey,
it's
Belgium, hey,
yeah.
Brazil. That's all they can do. They just see flags, right?
Yeah, exactly. um but like small artists like myself, I go on Instagram and it's like I've only done Instagram as part of like a promoter or an online event was doing an event, and they were doing it on Instagram and asked me to play. So there actually were people watching.
Mm,
But I've gone to so many of my friends, singer songwriter friends, live streams, and it's like 3 people
Yeah.
watching, like
Yeah.
on average, or less every time. And it's because Instagram wasn't set up to be that platform. Like it was set up for photos, and it was set up for you're waiting in line somewhere. It was set up for a short attention span, and it's great. I love Instagram, I do. But it wasn't set up for streaming,
Mm-mm.
and so I think the go-to shouldn't be the social media platforms that are the ones that our minds go to. I think you have to look up streaming platforms and go to that. So I had everything handed to me because I am part of this indie label here, and who have been streaming as their main thing for years. And
Wow.
so when they got me going, they just basically told me where to stream,
Mm.
how to do it, answered all my questions, gave me the gear I needed, helped me with all the problems I ran into. So I was very much lucky, and that's again why I say like I want to help other people do it, because if I were just gonna wake up one day and be like, "Oh, my gigs are canceled. I'm in a live stream," I would do it on Instagram, and I'd have 3 people watching, and I would be bummed out and say that didn't feel like a show, and never do it again,
Exactly.
or keep doing it again and keep coming to the same conclusion. But that's why, yeah, if any artists out there need help or advice on where to stream, um, and how to do it, it's different when you have people. I have people that tune in to every stream. I stream for 3 hours.
Mm.
Um, I just cut back to twice a week because I'm gonna start working on my album again here, building a studio and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing twice a week. But even when I was doing 3 times a week, I had people coming in for all 3 hours, all 3 days a week, from all over the world and country. And if I stream long enough, then it starts to be morning time in like France, and then I have like my fan in France tuning in, being like, "Oh yes, Jesse, you streamed long enough to where I woke up, I guess." And I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna go a little late tonight for our
Mm.
my new friend in France." And so when you have people who are like excited to see you and they're saying like, "Oh, bravo," and they request the song, so I don't know what I'm gonna play that night. I have a song list of 150 songs
Mm.
now. I had much less than that when I started, but they'll like donate for me to learn new songs on stream, so they get to watch me learn new songs.
Mm.
Um, and whatnot. So my list is expanding. I don't know what I'm gonna play that night. It keeps it really exciting. And any song that I play, there's at least one person that was like, "This is the song I want to hear you play," because it was requested. And
Mm.
it's very interactive, more interactive almost than a show, because they're curating the song list, they're
Mm.
talking amongst themselves, and it doesn't disrupt a show. Like if you're playing a concert and someone's like, "Oh man, I love your guitar," you're gonna be like, "Thanks, but like I have to ignore you because I'm playing," or like, "Hey man, if you say it 5 times, you gotta quiet down." But they just type it, doesn't disrupt the audio, and then I wait till the song's done and I read the comments. I'm like, "Hey, thanks. Yeah, I love this guitar. It was a gift. Blah blah blah." It's more interactive because I can actually talk to them and see them talking amongst themselves.
Mm.
Um, it's just totally different, but it's really cool if if you have that engagement.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of elements I think that make for that successful engagement. And it's not just me. It's not like it's because I'm great and so I went on a platform and it worked. I'm saying no. If I did it on the wrong platform or in the wrong way, or didn't have the gear that makes it sound good, like EQ and like whatnot,
Yeah.
um, it wouldn't work. So I think that there's like it's a whole new craft, and it is really cool if you can get that sweet spot.
Mm.
Um, and But it will never replace live. I'm really missing playing live. Even, yeah,
Yeah.
like I could go for just even a farmer's market where there's little to no interaction, but I see people and I'm playing and there's like a bird flying overhead. Like even that, I want it
I'm
so
like
bad.
salivating right now. Like basically putting like a meatball sub in front of a puppy.
Yeah,
What's happening right now for me? Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for
yeah, man.
um but we find the beauty within circumstance. It sounds like
Yeah.
you've done that very
We
well for
can
yourself.
and we can write right now too.
Yeah, yeah, um, definitely.
and record. You guys are recording.
That's where we definitely had to refocus and channel. We were pretty behind because we just got super excited about writing and playing, and so we just kept writing and playing the new songs at Republic Fi and some and Hotel Cafe and stuff. And we just got in a really good rhythm of writing and playing a bunch. And yeah, the recording, like you were talking about that process of being like the recording started to get put on the back burner, and so
Okay.
this woke us up. This was like, hey, you're playing sets where literally not one of these songs is recorded.
Yeah. And
And
then
we're like,
people can't go
yeah,
home and listen to it.
no application. It's just the dumbest like music business choice you can make. but
Right.
But we didn't care. It felt so good, and it was all about that present moment, right? And it was like, hey, we're playing next week right here again. So if you want to hear that song again, I know you can't listen to it at home. We're working on it, but come back next week, and we would get that right. And there was like
Oh,
incentive
that's
that
cool.
they couldn't actually hear. They would have to come see us to hear the song that they remembered.
That's cool. And now when they do come out, people are gonna know them already and be like, "Yes, I can listen to them on Spotify now. This song."
Yeah,
Make them wait.
yeah, yeah. But then as well, there's that healthy process that I think has been really good for the band to like put closure to songs. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, like we keep seeing it as like, oh, once we record this and put it out, that's when we'll whatever, right? Fill in the blank. That's when we'll get this amount of streams. That's when we'll play this venue. That's when we'll get on this label, right? All those goals that we might have that
Right.
come and go. Whereas like if you just do it, then it's real and it's true, and you're not
Yeah.
um, the hope is no longer so abstract. That's when things can get a little dark for me if my hope is in things that aren't too concrete.
Ah, because then they're kind of unattainable and undefined.
Yeah, and there's a lot of work too, right? I mean, there's this burden and like pressure because it's like, oh, if if you're gonna get to play the Greek theater once you put out these 20 songs that you haven't recorded yet, then you better record all those songs tonight. Which is it's a little stressful, right?
Totally.
So that's that's kind of the job for me is like how do you calm calm the mind and say you're doing a good job, son,
Yeah.
kid.
Dude, I know exactly what you're talking about. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. It's like we're musicians and we like to make art, but then also there's this other aspect of it is like actually we're also like our own bosses
Mm,
and we have goals and things and tasks
mm,
and for how beautiful it all centers around that beautiful meditative moment of like fullness or whatever you want to call it of songwriting
yeah.
or singing, right? And that's beautiful, but there's a lot that goes around supporting that and making that be able to be our lifestyle,
Mm,
and a lot of it is up here. Where do I place this microphone to get it good? Or I need to edit this and like and all this stuff, and it's hard to it's a I don't know about you, but I always start every day with writing like a list of all the things that I feel like I need to get done that day. And every day I get a small fraction of them done and I feel like a failure.
yep.
And then it's like, that's dumb. I want to live every single day feeling like a failure. Like, why don't I just say, hey, I'm actually doing great and like give ourselves some patience. I don't need to play the Greek theater tomorrow, which means I don't need to record a best-selling album all today in 12 hours. Like, oh, cool, I don't. Awesome. Wow, sweet. I can actually enjoy the process
Wow.
of this lifestyle that I've chosen,
Mm, yes.
but easier said than done.
Yeah, it's laughable when you just talk about it with a friend that cares about you because it's just
Yeah,
it's like why would you ever, but man, yeah, And it's tough for me to completely do away with it, right? Because some of that is my passion, some of that's my drive, some of that is what helped me finish my first song and helped me
Yeah,
record my first EP and whatever, raise the money to get the equipment that I need. Like all those things took that, like, what that, ah,
drive.
yeah, yeah, and it's tension, right? It's like
Yeah,
there's a pretty hypercritical line of like, all right, this is motivation, this is drive, this is passion, this is good, and then there's
and it
right,
tips over to anxiety and stress and overwhelmed and unfair expectations. Yeah, I know I totally go like this.
yep,
And I think finding balance in that to where I'm like, I'm driven and also I'm my friend.
yes, yeah, and you can right, you put that out there too, right? I think it sucks that you put that on yourself, but I've noticed to me, right, in my worst, I can totally, right? I mean, the band, right? It starts
Yeah,
out, right? If I put that pressure on myself, then I'm probably also putting that pressure on Sam,
yeah.
Brandon, Jason.
Don't abuse your band is a
Yeah.
lesson I've had to learn the hard way. I'm a nice guy, but still, you know what I mean? But still, you're like, sometimes I look back when I was younger, like a teenager or whatever, with my band, and I'm like, did I really say that to the electric guitar player? Like, God, I was an asshole. Like, like,
Mm,
oh, you're sick. We got to do the show anyway, man. And
yeah.
that guitar solo needs to be better and all this stuff. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are we doing this?
Mm,
Like, yeah, that definitely, that's why bands often don't last. And the ones that do, it's because they had that realization
mm,
of like patience with themselves, patience with each other. And your band isn't an extension of you.
mm,
They're their own people and they're here because
mm,
they love it for their own reasons. And
exactly.
what is that? And how can I honor that? And if you do, your band becomes incredible because you utilize all your strengths.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used to cling to a band and be
Mm,
like I need them.
yeah.
Like I have like with whatever success I had with that band, I have it because of them and I rely on them. And it's true. It's not wrong. Um, but now I try to live a life as a band. This combo is gonna appeal to like the 1,000% of people out there who are who are singers, who have a band leaders or whatever. But to that one audience, I feel like this is gonna be really, this combo is like so interesting and so important. But like yeah, for me, uh, I try to live it like thinking about how any band member could leave anytime tomorrow, unless it's like the date is confirmed and it's next week. But after they get through whatever dates that we confirmed,
Yeah.
committed, then it's like they can say no to any upcoming date at any time.
Yeah.
And once I started adopting that idea of like I don't need them, I want them, and I love having you here, but I'll play the show on my own. It'll
Yes.
be better if you're there. But
Yep.
once I adopted that idea, I feel like I started um, treating bandmates like not taking them for granted
Yes.
anymore and valuing them for every second that they are there. Now when I have a band practice, I put out snacks that I buy like dips and stuff like that. I'm like, "Here, this is for everyone. You need like some water, coconut water, some tea, like blah blah." I'm like and I try to um just be like, "Yo, you're giving me so much and what can I do to make this like freaking awesome for you? I want this to be awesome for you because it's awesome for me."
Yep.
But I think it takes a long time. You have to work through our own codependencies and our own like uh, BS
Yeah.
bullshit um, in order to like. Uh, I think it's like a marriage.
Yeah.
I really do.
Mm,
Um, and it can be a unhappy codependent marriage
mm,
if you let it.
yeah.
If you don't have the intention to make it freaking awesome every day,
Mm.
for your bandmates who you are like wedded to in this long-term project. I
Yes.
feel like the commitment is real. How far you go and what you can lift each other up if you
Mm.
treat it that way. You can make yourself your best self for them, and you can encourage each other to be your best selves. Um, and you can also make it miserable. And either way, the music can still be amazing because the music is like the sex.
Yep.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like this other, it's like a whole nother realm. It's like a chemistry thing.
Mm.
I I had a band with someone that felt like an unhealthy marriage for sure for like 9 years, and I don't know if it was always so crappy like how it was between me and him, but we'd just been friends since we were kids.
Yeah.
So we started a band together.
Mm.
We started when we were young, and because of that, we just took each other for granted. Like you've always been in my life, and blah blah blah. And like, dude, come on, I don't feel like doing this show. Come on, we gotta get to this show. Like, what's your problem? Blah blah blah. We just didn't breathe like a healthy dynamic into it, and didn't include try to make that into an intention because we were like 19.
Yeah.
But man,
Mm.
the music.
Mm.
Oh my God! Like we couldn't break up if we wanted to because I would write a song and then he would write an electric guitar part that fully embodied the feeling that I was writing with that song. Like, it was like a hive mind thing. Like the chemistry was there. And
Mm.
we could put down the instruments and be like pissed off at each other. Like, oh, I don't want to hang out with you again. Blah, you're so annoying, blah, blah. But we pick up the instruments, we go play a show, and it's like undeniable. Like we had musical chemistry. That's why I always say it's like a relationship and the music is the sex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to let go no matter how miserable you are because the sex, aka the music, is too good.
Yeah. And maybe there's something that the music is trying to say, on a deeper level. Like you guys do love each other,
Yeah,
but there are obstacles in the way, and in some cases there might be too many, right? And um, it's always okay, to it's tough. It's a tough conversation to have because especially if we're talking about marriage, right? It's like, I'd be but we always have to have the option to be able to walk away from something that's sabotaging our life.
yeah,
We have to have the option and we have to have the confidence and the discipline to say no, this
and
is
the self worth. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and even in the other case, like, hey, like, i'm I'm not in a place, like, I'm not healthy for you, like, I'm trying
ah,
so hard but I keep sabotaging your life because I'm dealing with these habits. And that's where the boundaries and the space, I think, can help to create trees that can be in the same forest
yeah, totally. And I
rather
think
than
as
trying
band
to
leaders,
grow together and
what?
make a bad tree. I don't know. I went on this forest tree tangent in my head.
Yeah, no. And I think as band leaders, it's even more a responsibility on us because to create a healthy band culture.
Yeah.
Um, and I think if you don't, uh, it can easily fall into another to something else. If you don't try to make it a type of culture, then you're just letting it become whatever culture it's gonna become,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I don't think it's worth risking that. I think you want to make sure everyone values each other and respects each other, and that's like solid in the foundation of a band. And I feel like I've had to learn that the hard way, and I've also had bands that had that naturally, but it's important to make sure everyone is on the same page and show them by leading in that way.
Yeah.
Um,
Something we've said has been uh, art for people, not people for art. Because we've had a lot of struggle with this, and so we've had to we've
ah,
like little phrases like that can come through. So it's just like when we're taking
that's
advantage of each other, probably me taking advantage of somebody else or trying to pressure someone to do something that they don't want to do. I always have to remind myself, like, art for people, not people for art.
that's amazing. I love that.
Mm.
That yeah, that's incredible. Art for people, not people for art. Yeah. And I'm talking about this concept, but I don't have a band right now. You're living this concept, and I see you guys as people that do it really well.
Mm.
Um, as little as I know, I mean, uh, after we've toured together, I'll know even more what it's like to be in a group with you guys.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it seems like you guys are doing this well because you've been a band for a while. You've had a lot of accomplishments, and it's like pretty much been the same members.
Yeah.
And also, for I've met three of you guys so far, and you just seem really chill. I
Mm.
don't see any of you having like an innate personality that would be hard to get along with or like demanding or something like that. But of course, yeah, we have to have these mantras and make sure nonetheless. But the fact that it's something you guys do and value already is like another strength. Um,
Yeah, and I think having those expectations for yourself um, is a really positive thing. Like for me, having the expectation to, for example, like play the Greek one day for myself has like I think it saved my whole life. Like I was addicted to things that I didn't want to be addicted to, and I was eating, a certain way, like all these things, right? And
mhm.
that one just beacon of like, hey, you're gonna play the Greek one day. Like whether it happens or not, that has been a lighthouse. Like that's always like, yeah, you should go vegan because you can't play guitar today. Or like, yeah, you don't need
Oh,
to go out and like spend a bunch of money at a bar um, with people that like might not actually care about you. Let's see, right? Let's detach yourself from that situation and see if your friendships go beyond the social thing that a bar, whatever, right? Things like that.
yeah.
And it just is always like, well, I don't need to have like a bar thing and like all that stuff in order to get to the Greek, so let's try it. And then I was able to unattach. Anyways, I can get like
That's
long.
amazing.
Uh,
Wow. Do you have a Greek theater in LA too?
yeah.
Oh, cool. Because we have one here, and it's amazing. That I think I might have to adopt that mentality.
Mm.
Does this choice lead me to the Greek, or does it push me off on a tangent when you make decisions? That's so true. That's cool.
And that's been the whole band, right? So that was before, like, that was clear. Thank God, right? Because like that's a big burden to carry. Like, there's not. It's a very small percentage of people that get the privilege and the opportunity to do that. And so
Right.
to put that weight on your mind and your body can be very taxing. And to put that on other people's minds and bodies is probably the worst thing I could do. And so I have to. That's where I have to be really careful and like, okay, that came to me, and yes, like, you know, these four, like five, maybe six other people have resonated with that, but for me, it's still happening, and it feels like something that's infinite and eternal, and that will sustain my life. But maybe for everyone else, it's like that temporary like motivation, inspiration that like helps them find themselves and then get really inspired about building a family with someone. And like when that happens, or if that happens, like I have to be prepared to be like, great. Like I'm
Yeah.
so happy for you. Like you found your lighthouse, you found your beacon, and you're stoked on who you are, and the world
Yeah.
is restful. And so for me, like I love that it's been the same members since we started and that we're all still connecting that way, but I don't expect it to be. I can't. And it's not a bad thing.
No, that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah, because
And
the yeah.
that thought, that mentality will probably make it is probably part of the reason you guys have sustained
Mm,
for so long with the same with
mm,
uh with no one having to leave because no one feels like they're coerced into it or it's something that they have to do. So every day they can wake up and say, "Do I want to be in this band?" Yeah. Is anyone forcing me? No.
right on.
It's my choice. Okay. Then I choose yeah. I think that's like the healthiest way to run a band.
Well, dude, this has been an insane talk, man.
Yeah.
Um, there is,
Wow.
yeah, something cool. Yeah, we've gone over an hour, and It's been so good. I know we could talk forever, man. It's so good. So these things, uh, there's repetition involved. There's consistency involved. It may be every few months, like every quarter or so. But I think um, my goal is we really want to create a community of songwriters and find those consistent things that hold us together and
Awesome.
pursue and focus on them and support. Um, so, dude, thank you so much. I was hoping that you could still play a song, maybe to finish us out today.
Yeah, yeah, I can do that. There's still time.
Yeah, man, I would love to hear a song, and I'm sure everyone else would as well.
Let's see. You hear the guitar?
Yeah, it's a little loud actually.
A little loud. Okay.
Sounds good though. Sounds pretty. All
Check, check, check.
right.
Awesome. I'm gonna do a harmonica song.
What's the name of this one?
This one's "Belong to the Night."
Mm.
It's yeah, it's. I was I showed up. I went visited another city with some friends to do a project that required us waking up super early, and I'm not naturally an early riser at all, and so I had to go to bed, and I just could not fall asleep, which is normal because that's my how my body is or whatever. Um, and I couldn't, man. And I was like, oh my god, dude, I have to wake up so early. Why am I not sleeping? And I was like beating myself up about it, how I often do. Like, dude, go to sleep. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you normal? Why do I stay up all night every night? Like, what's wrong with me? And then I was just like, you know what? I'm a night person.
Mm.
Like, I was playing guitar and I was like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna accept myself for that. I'm gonna feel like crap tomorrow because I got no sleep, but I belong to the night. That's where I'm pulled. That's where I write songs.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, this is like for any night owls out there. I belong to the night. I belong to the moon. I'm one with the spirits that haunt this room. I hear the whispers seeping through the walls, possessing my fingers, my tongue, my brain, body and all. The clock said I should go to bed, but only my soul can tell me when to rest my head. I belong to the night and the hoot of the owl, to that lonely wolf and his midnight howl, to those sparkling wonders hanging in the sky, dangling cosmic answers to the mysteries of the universe right in front of our eyes. The clock says I should go to bed, but only my soul can tell me when to rest my head. I belong to the night and the candlelight, to that devious look that looks just right. I give in to the laughter, the chocolate and red wine, and to what comes after, if we're lucky this time. The clock says I should go to bed, only my soul can tell me when to rest my head. I belong to the night, the stage and the sound. I live for the music, I'm in love with the crowd. The thump of the bass, guitars scream, the snare drums hit. Yeah, I feel the sweat and the blood and the love of the punks in the pit. The clock says go to bed, but only my soul can tell me when to rest my head. Says go to bed, but only my soul can tell me when to rest my head. You'll find me on a mountain, waiting for the sun. I promise to go to sleep when the magic here's done.
Wow, dude. Wow. We're so blessed to have you. We appreciate you so much, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun. It's good to connect again and see your face and geek out on what it's like to be a musician.
Yeah, dude. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure. All right.
Cool, man.
Man.
All right. Talk soon.